Hey boys, it's HarmNone. Today we're going to be customizing the Classique Broadway. I've never heard of that brand ever, but this is the new car in Grand Theft Auto Online that just got added in this week. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the customization with the armor as usual, going all the way up on that to start things off. The bodywork, we have the body trim that we can add, the mid-level trim, full body trim, oh my hot rod, and the hot rod with trim. I personally kind of like the look of it with the mid-level trim. I think that looks pretty good, so we're gonna go for that option. For the brakes, we're gonna have to upgrade those. I did take this thing for a spin before. It needs better brakes. We need those for sure. For the bumpers, we can remove the front bumper. We can also go for the bumper bars, the blade bumper, the roadster bumper, the bullet bumper, and the power ram as well. I kind of like the look of the power ram. We're gonna go for that option. Looks pretty cool to me. For the rear bumper, we have the stock, obviously, we have the bumper bars, we have the blade bumper, roadster bumper, the bullet bumper, and of course the power ram for the rear. I feel like having it on both sides looks weird, so I think that what I'm going to do is go for the roadster bumper on the rear of the car. For the engine, we are going to go level 4. Obviously, we want this thing to be as fast as possible. For the exhaust, we have the titanium tipped exhausts. That looks very strange on this car to me. We have the anodized exhausts, the wide chrome tips, and the finned chrome tips. The finned? What? That is very strange looking. But I don't hate it. Let's go for the anodized exhausts. I know that's kind of more of a sporty option for this car. It doesn't quite look right, but I do kind of like the look of it, so we'll go for that for right now. For the fenders, we can go for some fender covers with trim, and of course the fender covers with the full trim. I don't really like the fender covers. We're going to leave those alone. For the hood on this thing though, we can add the hood trim, the full hood trim as well, the dual filter blower, the heavy filter blower, the oval intake bug catcher, and of course the triple intake. I think that the oval intake is literally taller than the car. That is crazy. Not a fan of those really. We're gonna go for the full hood trim. I want to make this thing kind of look a little more classy, so that's what we're going for. Xenon for the headlights, we are gonna add that because I just can't stand not having xenon. For the livery, we do have the vintage decals livery. That looks pretty tight, I'm not gonna lie. We also have the two-tone flames, the hot rod flames, the deep purple, ooh, kind of cool, the deep negative, oh, neat, the LS Customs white, the LS Customs black as well. We also have the barn find, the junkyard classique, the beaten hot rod, the downtown cab company. Oh, that's what this car is. Okay. To unlock the downtown cab company livery, you do need to take 50 customers to their destination, which is going to take a long time, and you're going to make about 100 grand for doing it. So if you guys are interested, you can do that. We're gonna go vintage decals. I like the look of that a lot, so let's do that. For the mirrors, we do have the stock mirrors, the old school mirrors, the retro mirrors, the vintage mirrors, the low mirrors, and the bullet mirrors. I kind of like the look of the bullet mirrors in all honesty, but they're not quite big enough, honestly, so I think we're gonna go for the old school mirrors. I kind of like those. For the plate, we are gonna go for yellow on black with this thing. I think that's gonna look the best. I want to make this car a blue of sorts. I'm just not sure which blue yet. I'm thinking maybe a dark blue. I feel like dark blue is a great looking color for this thing. However, maybe something a little brighter at the same time. Maybe racing blue. Oh, that's nice. Let's go racing blue for the primary and for the secondary color on this thing. I think that just fits the car really well. Honestly, like, yeah, that looks great. That looks super great. So we're gonna keep that. For the roof accessories, we can have the vintage swamp cooler or the retro swamp cooler. So I guess that's vintage air conditioning, I'm assuming. It's an interesting look for sure. It's not something that you would typically see, I feel like. So honestly, like, as ugly as it kind of is, I think I am going to add the vintage one. I kind of like that. For the suspension on this thing, we are going to lower it. Do we go all the way? Honestly, I feel like it looks great all the way slammed. let's do it. Let's go race suspension on that. Race transmission obviously as well, and the turbo tuning, have to add that on. For the visor, we can add this on. Oh wow, there's some cool looking visors. You know what? I actually don't mind the look of the vintage peck hat. The classic visor is also okay, but I think that the vintage peck hat, something about that I really like. So let's go for it. For the wheels, oh man, this is always a tough one for me, especially on these older cars. I do not know what to go for. We could go for the classic rods. Honestly, they're very similar to the stock wheels. The spooners actually look pretty good on this thing. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like the look of that. What about lowrider rims though? What about these? Oh, you know what? The split six are okay looking. I don't know if they really suit this car though. The classic rods, we have these in here as well. Let's go for these. Let's go for the classic rods, and we'll do them in a black. I think that looks pretty sleek. Bulletproof for the tires, obviously we're going to do that. And for the windows, let's do a light smoke, not a limo tint on this thing, I don't think. Honestly, the car's looking pretty good. I'm happy with this. Let's take it down to the ground. We're of course going to do a sound test and a full review on the vehicle as well. Okay, let's take a listen to this thing. Honestly, this car sounds pretty good. Let's take a look at the interior. Wow, this is actually a really nice interior. I'm sure that this is probably shared with another vehicle in the game, but this is looking really, really nice. I like the speedometer. That's a super nice touch. The fuel gauge is pretty cool looking as well. And what is that? The temperature gauge. The temperature gauge. There's so much detail in here. It looks great. I think the ROCKSTAR did a great job of the interior, and I think they did a pretty good job of the engine sound as well. I feel like this is kind of a unique engine sound. I feel like not many cars sound like this one does. Maybe I haven't driven enough old cars, but this thing definitely sounds pretty good, I would say. I really do like the sound of this. It's got a very cool blow-off valve sort of sound, and then the engine itself actually sounds really good as well. So, you know, props to ROCKSTAR. I think that they did a pretty good job with this car. I think that this thing is I think this thing's pretty cool. Now of course we got to talk about the performance of the, what is this thing called? The Classique something or other? I honestly can't remember. Oh, the Broadway, that's the name of this thing. It's an interesting car. Definitely it feels and drives like an older car. That is something that I can say for sure. It definitely has a bit of understeer going on, which is very old car-ish. So that's not exactly a great thing. But with that being said, it does have a lot of grip in the rear. It's not really, you know, stepping out on me or anything like that. So at least the rear wheels are staying planted, but yeah, that understeer is definitely hitting. The acceleration is also not super fast. It's not super fast, I'm not gonna lie. It's quite slow, in fact. But once you kind of get, you know, you start getting moving, it's gonna take you a little while to, you know, get moving. But once you get moving, you know, it maintains its speed pretty well. You don't have to hold the throttle for too long. So that is something good about the car, I guess. As far as the top speed goes, from what I can tell, it's probably not going to be very high. But I mean, would you really expect it to be very high on a car like this? I wouldn't. So overall, I'd say for the $900,000 that this thing costs, I can't really say that I recommend it. The taxi livery is cool, don't get me wrong, but for $900,000, I don't know that this thing is honestly worth spending your money on. It's got a little bit of cool customization. It is a cool looking car. I'm not the biggest fan of older cars, but you know, this one is still pretty decent looking, I think, and the customization is nice to have as well. So overall, I would say that it's definitely not the worst car you could buy for $900,000, but it's probably far from the best car you could buy for, you know, the $900,000 range. So if I'm being completely honest with you guys, I probably wouldn't have purchased this thing if I wasn't making a review and a customization for you guys. So do with that information what you will. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, or if you found something out about the Classique Broadway. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, and I will see you all in the next video. Until then, take care. Peace.